Inside an Egyptian temple at Dendera, there are carvings on the wall. These carvings show a shape that looks exactly like a modern light bulb, a glass bulb shape, a filament inside, mounted on a stand. And next to them, objects that look like electrical insulators and a cable. These carvings are 2,000 years old. Edison invented the practical light bulb in 1879. That's almost 2,000 years after these carvings were made. So either the Egyptians had electrical technology that was completely lost, or something else is going on here. The Dendera Temple complex is one of the best preserved ancient Egyptian temples. Located about 60 kilometers north of Luxor, built during the Ptolemaic period. The famous carvings are in a small underground room called the Dendera crypt. On the walls are several carvings of what appear to be large, oval or elongated bulb-like shapes. Each bulb shape contains what appears to be a snake or serpent inside, with a lotus flower at the base. Some also show a figure that resembles a filament in a glass tube. A separate carving appears to show a cable-like object connecting to an electrical insulator-looking device. And there's a figure that some researchers interpret as a djed pillar, which looks remarkably like an electrical insulator. Austrian electrical engineer Walter Garn studied the carvings and concluded they depicted a working electrical system. He even built a device based on the carvings. It produced electrical light. The alternative history community erupted. The Egyptians had electricity. But Egyptologists had a very different response, one that's actually well supported by the broader context of Egyptian religious symbolism. The official Egyptological interpretation is straightforward once you understand Egyptian symbolism. The bulb shape is a lotus flower in bloom, a very common motif in Egyptian religious art. The serpent inside represents Apep, the snake god of chaos, being contained or subdued. The djed pillar is a well-documented Egyptian religious symbol representing stability. It's found in thousands of Egyptian carvings, with no electrical context whatsoever. The lotus on pillar composition with snake figures is a standard Egyptian symbolic arrangement. It appears in multiple temples across Egypt, not just Dendera. When you know Egyptian religious visual language, the carvings read as standard ritual content, not as technical diagrams of an electrical device. The filament is the snake's body. The cable is a ritual object. The insulator is the djed pillar. Every element has a clear documented religious meaning in Egyptian art, and no independent evidence of ancient Egyptian electrical technology has ever been found. No copper wire infrastructure, no power generation equipment, no burnt-out bulbs, nothing. The Baghdad battery we covered earlier is genuinely ambiguous. This is less so. But the visual similarity between these carvings and modern electrical equipment is genuinely striking. It's worth understanding why it looks so familiar even if the explanation is mundane. Here's the interesting part that the ancient electricity framing misses entirely. The lotus flower in bloom genuinely does look like a light bulb. Not because the Egyptians copied the light bulb. Because Edison designed the bulb to optimize a specific shape. A glass enclosure that's wide enough to contain a bright enough filament, but narrow enough to blow. Those engineering constraints naturally produce an oval or elongated bulb shape, the same oval that nature produces in a fully bloomed lotus flower. Two completely unrelated things, shaped by different forces, arriving at the same visual result. This happens more often in design history than people realize. Birds and airplane wings, fish and submarines, lotus flowers and light bulbs. The Dendera light bulb isn't evidence of ancient electricity. It's evidence that optimal shapes in nature often match optimal shapes in engineering, which is fascinating in its own right. Without any need for conspiracy. A 2,000-year-old carving that looks exactly like a light bulb. Not because the Egyptians had electricity, because a lotus and a bulb solved the same geometric problem. Sometimes the truth is more interesting than the conspiracy. If you want more ancient mysteries explained clearly, subscribe. Next week, we're going back underground for something that shouldn't be possible in 3 billion-year-old rock.